Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Sometimes it's just easier to go back to what you know. So, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to the Voice of the Land. As Bob in Millersburg, our big voice guy at the start, told you, I am Kevin Arnold. He is Always Positive Jay behind the proverbial glass and a big, giant screen that unfortunately we don't have a guest to look at here tonight. It is our producer extraordinaire. What Jarvis was to Iron Man, audio is to the Voice of the Land. He is Peter Telep in humanoid form. We are brought to you by Vector Technical. They'll get the right person in the right job the first time. Of course, a part of the Big Play Sports Network family and partnered with LPV Productions as well to bring you all of the beautiful sights of our faces, sounds of our voices. But I wanted to, before we get into sports topics, and I know we're a little late starting here. We'll go 5 minutes over, but that'll still make an hour as we try to like maybe get back to our New Year's resolutions. But I guess I hate doing this, but I feel like it's necessary. I'm going to get serious, even more serious than we typically are right now. We've been kind of doing prayers and well wishes from time to time. I needed to start with that here tonight because a family, loved ones, a city, hearts are aching here tonight. Maybe some of you have seen through some of our news outlets. Where I live in Wickliffe, there was a house explosion, a garage that exploded. And unfortunately, one person did not make it out. We have to send, and it was right over by where my grandfather lives. And Jay, I know that you and I had planned to just go shoot hoops, like both you and I, stresses of the week, we all go through it. But it pales in comparison to what people are going through here tonight because of this. But, we were going to go shoot hoops today, and I was leaving my house and ready to go and ready to just, because that's something that I miss, having a hoop out back and hopefully moving into a house, have that just for those basic stresses of the week. But then life kind of puts things in perspective for you, and it has a weird and unfortunate way of doing it sometimes. And as I'm leaving my house, I hear a loud explosion, and it started low like a truck backfire, and then it just bellowed throughout the entire city, and everything shook almost like an earthquake. Then a bunch of fireworks sounding, gunshot versus fireworks sounding sounds, just multiple, like a grand finale. And as I was going to leave, our city is, I think it's like a 2 square mile city in Wickliffe. Instead of going to the highway one way, I went the other way to kind of see what was going on. I wanted to know. I wanted to, if something bad was going on, I wanted to be there and at least show my support before, going to do something I want to do that, again, pales in comparison to what people are going through right now. And then, I kind of saw that where I thought it was kind of on the other side and going towards where my grandfather lives. My grandfather is on oxygen. He's doing well health-wise. Thankful for that. Pray to God for that all the time. But he does have to use oxygen. They have not been able to get him off of that. And, you have to put those signs on your door like no smoking, nothing like that. Fire, I think, catches it. It runs through the entire oxygen line. And then, unfortunately, there's serious ramifications there. I knew, one of my aunts lives there, helps take care of him. Both my aunts help take care of him, but I didn't know if they were there or not. And I had to go pick up something from there anyways. So I go rushing over there to check on him, and then saw that no one was home. And it was just him and the dog that, it's a Lhasa that is fearful of thunderstorms, loud noises, fireworks. And so I went to check because I couldn't tell exactly where the smoke was coming from and if there was any danger there. And if no one's home, I need to help the medical staff kind of explain to him. He doesn't hear very well. I needed to help explain, this is why I'm taking the oxygen off of you. This is why we're getting you out of here right now. I need you to work with me. I want to keep you safe. And it was just right across the street. And again, thoughts, prayers, condolences. There's no easy words to say for something like this. And we are a small community. It's one of those, just like the song and Cheers used to say, you always want to go someplace where everybody knows your name. Everybody knows everybody in Wickliffe. It's one of those communities, and there's a lot of communities like that in the greater Cleveland area in Northeast Ohio, and it's a special thing. That's why this area. That's why a lot of us stay around the area that we grew up in, because it does have that special feel to it, and it's something. I won't say unique about Ohio versus other states. I'm sure there's other states that have similar areas like that, but it feels like it's unique to you. And so again, more importantly, a family is hurting tonight. Loved ones, friends, people that knew them, but also a community. There were a lot of tears that were shed by the community that kind of came out, and everybody, of course, you hear that, you're going to come and see it. There were people coming from other neighboring communities because they felt it, they heard it. So I wanted to at least start the show there. I'm sorry to kind of start with down mood, guys, but I needed to make sure, because you guys know I wear Wickliffe on my sleeve as much as I do.
I mean, like I talked to you right after that happened, and I could just tell how shook you were from all of it, and just in your voice. And I was like, yeah, don't even worry about it. Worry about basketball, just stay there. And two things, like one thing, I'm really proud of you, because I tell people all the time about you is you always do the right thing when no one's even looking. That's character. You have great character. And instead of just going, oh, sure, he'll be fine, and just doing what you wanted to do, you put him above your own self. And that's awesome. So I commend you for that. Two is, we've been preaching, and like recently on this show, is how fragile life can be, how at any moment anything can happen. And like, people lost a family member today, and try to cherish your time with people, your family and friends, and letting like little things go. This is like, for me, like, I want to do things more with my dad. Like, I literally just made plans. Like, he just turned 70. I'm like, all right, I got to do stuff with my dad more. And we just planned a trip this Friday. We're going out to Cooperstown to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's something he wanted on his bucket list. He's never been there. He's 70, so he's obviously a huge baseball fan. Called one of my friends I haven't talked to in like 3 years, and he's just like, I can't believe you called. I'm like, dude, I mean, we got to stop like not communicating with each other and reaching out to each other a lot more, and like you did, looking out for each other.
Yeah, sorry, it's difficult. I mean, you see, and I mean, there's not been a lot of information released, and in a small community, everybody kind of knows everybody, so then everybody's talking around there. So things that I heard involves people that I've worked closely with, because I've told you guys many times, and on here many times, I've coached in the city, I've taught in the city, I've been around. I was the one that got the help as a kid to be raised to be as best as I could, from not just my family, but everyone in the community. And I want to continue to give back. I want to make sure that kind of thing continues. Like, each new generation feels like, even if they want to get out, it's one of those cities where either you want to get out right away once you graduate high school, get off to college and go somewhere like out of state or far away, several hours around the state, away from Wickliffe, not because you don't like it, but it's because like you got what you got out of it, and you want to spread your wings. Other people, there's a lot of people that have been lifelong residents. My mom has been a lifelong resident of the city of Wickliffe, and I'm kind of in that boat right now. If I don't end up being that way, like that's totally fine, but that'll always be my original hometown. Everybody always has their original hometown, and everybody, like, people always come back. My sister went out to Seattle, and I don't fault her for that at all, because she found what she was looking for. That's what you want for people. But she comes back. There are other people that have moved.
I lived in the Florida Keys, Kevin.
Yeah.
And people are like, why did you come back? And I asked myself that.
Yeah.
It's your friends and family, man.
And so it doesn't it doesn't hurt to go to go away or anything, but I just to give perspective on what the city is like made up of. And again, it's helped make me who I am. And I want to keep giving back. And if the people that I know that are involved in this, boy, it hurts even more. But being a resident in general, it hurts. And to see a lot of the support that came out from neighboring communities, the first responders that you have to give a prayers and well wishes to them as well, because they deal with this kind of stuff maybe too often. And there's other things that take people's
and there's just so many jobs out there that people don't realize that. Like I was talking to RJ, who congratulations on your new job at ESPN, but I'm pretty sure he was a camera guy for Fox 8 or did something like that.
Yeah, he was production.
And he would have to go to see these stories. Like the news, if you don't know, the news is usually not good news. A lot of it just sad news. That's why I don't even watch it, because it just like gives me anxiety and makes me real depressed.
At least the first half hour of it.
But they have to see that. What cops have to see on a daily basis. I'm watching Narcos, and I'm watching this DEA agent. He just saw his friends die, and how like it just eats at you. Like you have to go through so much stuff, and like ambulance drivers, all these all your first responders, nurses, all these people have to deal with this trauma every single day. So hats off to them, man.
Yeah, always. So we'd be remiss if we didn't mention people like that. And again, that's
what I mean, dude. When we got to realize when we're having tough days at work, it ain't nothing. Ain't nothing. Like a tough day for me is I spill some paint and I got to clean it up and it gets all over me. Oh well, I'm gonna clean it up.
Yeah, it's again, life has a I won't say a funny way, because there's nothing funny right now about that, but we're gonna try.
It has a way of humbling you.
It has a way of humbling you. We'll definitely transition and try to have some fun, because this type of thing is an escape. And to be honest, like the only thing that I feel right now is the need to like apologize to you guys, apologize to anyone that is tuning in right now for to bring the mood down. But I wanted to start the show, and this is the type of show where we pull the curtain back. So not to make an excuse for myself, if I feel off, I don't care if people see me feeling off. I wanted to make sure that I, on behalf of this show, said something and said that we care. So if there's something that we can do, if things get put out there, set up for it, and there's something that we can do, we will definitely do our best from our own resources to help out as well. But right now it's just about the family, the people that are mourning tonight, community, about kind of dealing with it, and everybody's going to deal with it differently. And then just kind of starting to heal as time goes on. But it's going to take a good deal, because something like that you don't really see every day. I just know around the country there are moments like that. So first responders have to deal with that. Hats off to you guys, and continue prayers and condolences to family, friends, again, loved ones, community of Wycliffe for today. And let's all come together, as I know that we will, to help those that need it get through it, who need it more, get through it. Good time to take a break. We will be back with more Voice and Land right after this, right here on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Land. Kevin Arnold alongside of Always Positive Jay. I am Kevin Arnold. I don't know why I do that third person thing sometimes. I second guess everything I do. I don't know why, but I am Kevin Arnold. He is Always Positive Jay.
Don't worry, Always Positive Jay doesn't see anything wrong with it at
I'm sure. Well, Kevin is pretty sure that Peter Tellep or audio does not see a problem with it either. But we move on, and there's no easy way to transition. But sometimes the best thing to do is to get to those things that maybe help you escape, and maybe this will help some people escape those moments, or just kind of take a moment away from it. If you're just joining us, we did touch on it. We'll continue to send prayers and condolences to a family that lost a member earlier today in the city of Wickliffe after a house did explode, or an element of their house did explode, unfortunately, earlier today. But to transition, we'll talk Cavs here in a minute. I know you're wearing the.
I'm laughing to myself. I'm sorry. There's the ongoing Hammer hates when I text Riz during the show. Riz is texting me during the show. I see why they hate it so much.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't care. I love. It's a love-hate thing with your buddy Aaron.
Anything?
I love to annoy him.
Anything to share from Riz? Has he got an update? Is he having fun?
He's come on his way back. Had a blast at the PGA.
I think
show me pictures of Florida. I'm like,
he's
thanks.
Staying in Florida. He's working out of our.
He said he'll be back on the show tomorrow. Is what he was telling me.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people will be.
And I'm pretty sure Jim and Parma started complaining about whatever Aaron did this week, because he does that in our chat group all the time. But
yeah,
that's
different show, different network.
It's the show within the show.
Yeah, but something I know that network talked about, other networks talked about, and we can talk about now. The Browns firing Mike Prefer as special teams coordinator. We'll get to the Cavs in a minute, and I like that you put our, the gift that Jan and I got for you.
Yeah,
Peter, we're still working on a gift for you. Trust me, we are. For your humanoid form, a nice shirt to wear.
I'm just for the record, I took care of. I got mine out of the way right off the.
I understand. All right, don't.
Just letting you guys know.
All right, big
for the record.
All right, big head. Let's. But we'll touch on the Cavs. I want a little bit more of the game that's going on right now to kind of happen, because if what's happening right now continues to happen, there's a point to the conversation I want to have with the Cavs, and hopefully they continue to back up my point. If they don't, I might have a whole different point by that point. But Browns first. Former special teams player for the Browns, Bubba Ventrone, Ray Bubba Ventrone, has been named the new special teams coordinator. A very quick transition from Mike Prefer to Ray Bubba Ventrone. The Browns went through the necessary regulations, which I don't always agree with in the NFL, to fulfill the certain rules that you have to do to interview coaches. They knew that they wanted Bubba Ventrone, but you have to go through other things to then, talk to other people. Now,
with the Browns, I hate that they have to do that, because it's like a have to do thing. And the Browns are great at hiring minority team, like coaches.
Yeah, the Rooney Rule is what we're talking about. Yes. And you're basically you're using someone to then neglect their actual qualifications because you know that you've already pinpointed your guy. If you pinpointed your guy, that's great. The Browns saw that the Colts had hired a new guy, and then some of their coaches were going to be available. That's why they probably didn't fire Mike Prefer right after the season, because they were going to stick with him unless a better option. Hey, we look at drafts all the time, and people will say, hey, a new regime came in. We can't really grade this regime on this draft until they get 3 years in. And we don't know how they're going to operate, because they're not going to tell us anything in press conferences. They're only going to show us in the draft. What are they like? We'll see trends. Well, the trend with this team in general of how this front office operates is they will only move on from something that they know is kind of an issue. They're going to work with that person to try to help them fix what's going on, unless a better option becomes available.
That's with players too.
We saw that last year, because all we heard all off season up until the middle of March was what? Baker Mayfield is our guy. And I know that that's probably a trigger word for a lot of people. I don't
care anymore.
I don't care. He's not Voldemort, and I can say Voldemort too. I just went nerd. I don't
go on with what you were saying.
But they said that Baker was their guy, and then I know that they were doing the background work. We found out later on Deshaun Watson, but they went with Deshaun Watson, seeing that he was available and that he was going to talk to teams. They went to go talk to him, and when he became available, they took that step because they felt like they were getting better. Say what you want about all the other stuff, and we're not going to neglect that other stuff. That's just a trend from a pure football improvement standpoint. This year, they got rid of their defensive coordinator right after the season, Joe Woods, because they knew who was available. They knew who they wanted, or at least a couple of guys they wanted, pinpointed them. They had a plan. Better option existed. They brought Jim Schwartz in here to be the defensive coordinator. A lot of people wanted Mike Prefer gone. They've been calling for Mike Prefer to go. The special teams have been underwhelming at best, I will say. But they were going to stick with him unless a better option became available. Well, took a while for some of these teams to get their head coaches in. Took through the Super Bowl for some of these other assistants that were coaching that long. You can't hire one of those guys until they're out of the playoffs. So now they see that coach comes in. They see that, hey, this coach is probably going to go in a different direction. A lot of the people that were already there, they're not going to hang on to. As I think Bubba Ventrone was at Indianapolis for 5 years as their special teams coordinator, usually in the top 10. Brown saw an upgrade. They saw a chance. A guy became available. They requested permission. They requested permission to fulfill the rule. And they had maybe a couple other guys that they were interested in. But Bubba Ventrone was the first name that we heard. They went after him. They got him. Jim Schwartz was the first guy that they had in mind. They went after him. They got him. Not here to break down special teams, Jay.
No?
No.
Oh.
No. Not here.
I was really looking forward to that, Kevin.
Not here to break down special teams. I think it was ridiculous. Like how many?
This is the most overhyped move I've ever seen of a special teams coach hiring of all time. So, friend of show Grocery termed it perfectly.
So my question isn't about, your reaction to Bubba Ventrone and like, oh my gosh, what's he going to do for the special teams? And what is like, this team is like off and running. Like if you're even more positive than positive, Jay and me about the team, like you're loving what they're doing already in the offseason. Great. That's to each their own. More so, and it's a question I've kind of posed to some other people. Do you give any more credit to Coach Stefanski and this front office for when they know they're going to make a move and go away from someone they've had for a while, having a plan to have that improvement ready to go?
Yes, I do love that they are like that. They don't just go, okay, this fired, and now we're going to figure out who we're going to put in this place. They knew what they were going to do beforehand. Like you said, they had a plan put in place, ready to go. They executed it perfectly, and they got who they wanted. The thing about the Schwartz thing, I've told you, I'm glad because everywhere he's gone, he's proven that he's got the defensive line to play great. With Bubba Ventrone, I'm excited that this guy has made a career of being a special teams player. So he's going to implement that into our players, and he knows what it means to play here. Like Josh Cribbs was on an interview, and he was just saying, like, if we may not beat you, or they may beat us on special or on defense and offense, but they sure in the hell are not going to beat us on special teams. And we need a guy that and put that in, because like, how many times have we said if we would have just played complimentary football, not even great football, just complimentary football, we would have won games. We're in the playoffs if our special teams wasn't garbage last year.
You're right. And Peter, I don't think people are willing to give Coach Stefanski the credit for it because, I mean, this is part of his job to make these tough decisions and bring the right people in. I'm not going to have you guys react to Jim Schwartz and Bubba Ventrone, especially Bubba Ventrone on special teams, because they seem like good hires, but we won't know until we actually see it. I don't want to just hear from them. I know Ventrone's going to have all this energy and everybody's going to say that he won the press conference.
So when he does the press conference and references a couple Cleveland things, you're not going to get all excited. And
he gets us.
That gets us meter goes off the rails. And
I mean, he gets us as a check mark for me, but I'm not allowing myself to get all like amped up about it because you have to go still do it on the field. People know what he did in Indianapolis, and I'm sure that they're going to try to still continue to adjust to when he had success in Indianapolis. He's going to bring some of that stuff to Cleveland. People are going to adjust to that. So we don't know if it's going to work here like it did for each of these two guys elsewhere. We don't know that yet. Yes, this is part of his job, but do you, Peter, think that he should get more credit for having a plan and executing that plan instead of just willy-nilly making these random decisions and then really not having a plan? You bring in a bunch of different names to interview and you go with option number 5 because everyone else turns you down and you know you're on the hot seat. So you're just doing these things without really thinking. They're actually thinking and putting the plan in place.
Well, I definitely feel better that there appears to be a plan. And I think, as Jay said, the fact that they didn't just fire the coach and then look to see what's out there, and that can be frustrating because, sometimes we get coaches that are not good, but the knee-jerk reaction is to get rid of them, and then you realize there's nothing better out there, and then you look kind of foolish because at least as someone that's already here, they know the system. Maybe they can improve and then help improve your team. So I like that there's at least appears to be a plan. And unfortunately, I'm at the point where, I don't give a crap about the press conferences. Just show.
I think everyone on this show, doesn't care about the press conferences.
Show me the results on the field, and I'll be happy. It's great if he gets us.
No, here's what I want.
Get us a win.
He gets us. That's great. I want the whole damn team to get us to understand what it means to us.
Yeah.
What this team means to this city. I've gone on this rant too long. They need to learn the history of this team. You want to get us, get the whole team on that program.
You know who has got us and got this city? Terry Francona.
Yeah, he gets us.
You talk about it. You talk about a successful organization, the Guardians. Hey, say what you will, and I say a lot about the Dolans, but they put the right people in place to handle the other decisions to knowing, hey, you're not going to be given a lot of money to do things, but yet they still find a way to, hey, you got a down year. Now they're back to the Central Division champs. They're with a team that has higher aspirations this year. Now, are they getting that kind of respect? We'll talk about that later, and we'll have plenty of time to do that. I know spring training has started. They have to start it early. WBC, the World Baseball Classic, is coming. Try to watch that because Lord knows I can't actually watch the Guardians by being a Bally Sports Plus subscriber, paying for the entire year.
Bally's Plus Sports plus.
What was it? Commercial?
We'll just add 3 pluses. That's terrible.
Hulu
plus.
Hulu
It's terrible. We're going to go
Live
with
Sports plus, something like that.
Awful name.
Yeah,
but we'll go with it.
Yeah. So that's a rant for maybe a different time of the show or whatever. I don't know, but
don't get me started on streaming things. They're so expensive.
To get back to it, though, the Guardians, they get us and they get what they mean to the city and they put into it. Now, I think that they could be given a little bit more from this city, probably a lot more. When you have a sellout in the opening day, and I know it's cold outside. If you're willing to sit through a crappy football team in colder temperatures, you can go sit at a ballpark with a team that's actually going to give you effort, energy, and a youthful exuberance.
You're done addressing the fans because I'm going to address you, Mother Nature.
Oh, boy.
If it can be 70 in February, and when it comes to opening day, if it's 40-something degrees and partially rainy, I'm going to be a pissed off Jay. I'm going to tell you right now. Like, that makes no sense. Why is it 70 in February? And I swear it'll be nice weather all around that time. Come home opener, it's like always the worst weather.
This is why people ask you, why'd you come back? Like, for these types of things that you're complaining about, this is why.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, every time it snows, I'm like, why did I come back?
We choose to deal with it because we love this area so much, just deal with it.
I will have to say there's something about the rain in April in baseball season that just seems to cut a lot colder than the rain in the fall in football. For whatever reason, it just seems like it's just a much harder thing to deal with, which is weird because coming off of summer, you figure, the cold rain before it turns to snow is going to be the worst. But man, maybe it's because we've just been through so much over the winter. We just can't deal with the cold rain.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But hey, weather aside, they get us. Cavs, we'll get to them here in a second. But for the most part, they kind of get us, and they're trying to do things the right way. They're trying to take that next step. Will they, won't they? We'll answer those questions here soon. I think people are maybe overdoing it a little bit with how extreme they go when they lose a couple games and how extreme they go when they win a few games instead of being kind of like down the middle.
Yeah, they extremely lost that game the other night, though.
I mean, that was an embarrassing loss, but they happen.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm pretty sure this team leads the league in like blowout wins.
Yeah, they're happening a little too often for this team. For the Browns, they lead in lack of success since 1999, I think almost in every category. If they don't, I'd be surprised.
Well, they were just mentioning in the XFL game today about what the team that blew 2 fourth quarter 2-minute leads or something. I forget what it was. Yeah, so even the XFL is crapping on the Browns.
Yeah. So, Bubba, I'll say this to you. Whatever you say in your press conference when you're introduced to the media, whenever that might be, love it already, because I'm sure as a former player, you're going to say everything that we all want to hear. And we appreciate that. Please coach your special teams how to get an onside kick when you have the lead.
Oh, please.
I know converting an onside kick is tough everywhere. It's less than 5%, I think, most of the time. That I'm not so much worried about. I'm worried about when you have a 13-point lead with 1:55 to go, you actually have the right hands team or guys on the hands team that go out there and collect the football to go win the football game. Allow your offense to come back out. They've done everything they need to do. Take a knee and move on. That is my last message to Bubba Ventrone. Hopefully this all works out. But again, I'm not getting hyped up until the season starts. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give more credit to Coach Stefanski in this front office because I saw them do something. Not because they told me something, but because I saw them do it. Don't talk about it.
Be about it. I was just sitting there waiting for the open for that the whole time. I'm like, once he stops, I'm going with it. And I'm like, he started it.
And for an instance, they were about it. So I think good time to cut off the Browns and switch over to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are in action right now at home against the Toronto
Donovan
Raptors.
Mitchell is on fire. 35, I think, last time I checked.
That's what we want to see. We'll check and see where he's at in the break. We'll check and see where the game is at in the break as well. I'm sure a lot of people are probably watching both ways, or you're listening to us and watching the game. We'll be right back right here on the Big Play Network. This is the Voice of the Land.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land. Time to hit the hardwood as we switch gears from Browns to Cavaliers. Cavaliers in action right now. They are leading at home against the Toronto Raptors. I think taking out maybe some frustration from the first 2 games of the All-Star break or the last 3 games in general. They are up 20 points in the third. Of course, anything can still happen. We won't claim that as a win. First off, they get rid of Kevin Love. They buy him out. They agree to buy him out. And, you have...
They bought him out. Peter just told us he went for milk and cigarettes.
Oh, no. That was one of the, I think a lot of the beat reporters...
The quote of the week.
Quote of the week for a lot of the beat reporters that cover the team on a daily basis was Jared Allen saying, yeah, I was told he went out for some milk and cigarettes and just never came back. And it was our classic line. I know he's struggling down in Miami still, and there's a reason why the Cavs weren't playing him, but that's an organization that gets it, at least, where, hey, a guy still feels like he can play, and they did right by the player that's been here for a while, that will probably have his jersey in the rafters, all of those pageantries, all of those things. The problem is no one is producing off that bench right now. There's not a lot of people producing off that bench. If someone like Donovan Mitchell was going off tonight in the starting lineup, or the starting lineup in general doesn't go off, it seems like it's a struggle to win. Do you guys,
especially on the road,
how concerned have you guys been from what you have seen lately after that 7-game win streak from this team? Or how, even in general, how Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type elements this team has been?
None at all.
Thank
whatsoever.
You. Thank you.
It's growing pains. We're going to go through it. I told you guys from the very beginning, I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm in it for the ups. I'm in it for the downs. And they're going to have these moments, dude. They're not an elite team yet. We can all admit that. Can they be? Yeah, because they have such a great young core.
Do you question JB at all?
Nope. I think he does great.
I do a little
I don't
bit.
think he's not Popovich. Let's just get it wrong. How many great coaches are out there? Everyone, like we just talked about, like this, everyone's like, oh, let's fire JB Bickerstaff. Who are you going to put in there? You're just going to pop someone in and think he's better than JB? Like JB gets these guys, they play hard in the fourth quarter. They haven't really lately, but if you watch their stats defensively, they always are trying hard. And that's all I want is he gets the most effort out of these guys. They're just not making their shots for some reason on the road.
I think what concerns me is what happened, like the bad habit that happens too often. And it's something we saw towards the end of last year as well. That's kind of carried over to this year as they've kind of taken that step towards going all in again, feeling like they have the team to go all in. They're not quite there clearly because they didn't make a trade at the trade deadline. Yeah. But by making that trade for Donovan Mitchell in the offseason, getting rid of a player like Lauri Markkanen, who is absolutely crushing it out there in Utah, was an all-star, was in the three-point contest. He was going off on his home floor, what his home floor is this year. Colin Sexton being sent out there. You know, that's a step towards that direction. So as they're working through that chemistry, that takes a little bit longer. Hey, LeBron, I know he said, we ain't going to win one, not two, not three. Even he came to the realization it's tough to win a championship and it's tough to win with a team, even as buddy as you are with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. It is very difficult when the rest of the league is gunning for you and you guys are trying to figure out, how do we actually play together? We can have fun in an all-star game where there's not much defense. We can have fun in the Olympics where we know we're the best country. We reestablished ourselves as the best country. But in the NBA, where the best talent around the world is all there playing against you on a nightly basis in a different collection each and every single night, it's not so easy. It's not going to be easy. And we're not going to see the finished product this year of what this team can be. Garland and Mitchell going together, Rubio coming off of an injury. He's not able to play every single night. What concerns me is where they start out so slow, or they can't finish games. Continue to talk about we lacked intensity. We turned the ball over too much. That's something that can't happen. If you really want to build a team that's going to be championship caliber in the next year or two, those are the things that until you get those out, those bad habits out, that's just general basketball. That's not learning to play with each other. That's general basketball. Maybe in the first couple games, hey, I thought this guy was going to go here. They went there. So game didn't end right. We're past the 3/4 pole of the season. Those kinds of things can't happen. So that's where I question JB. I question the players, but not from a standpoint of, oh, I'm Chicken Little. The sky is falling, guys. The Cavs lost a few games in a row. They decided to hit the All-Star break a little early in Philly. And, they didn't play well on the second night of a back-to-back when they got to play three games in 4 nights. Boy, I mean, the schedule's been brutal. There's no excuses. This is what you have to deal with. But I'm not going to say the sky is falling. You got to keep things in perspective and enjoy the ride. Peter, do you see any issue with this team? Is there some sort of sky is falling element that concerns you?
I wouldn't say sky is falling. I mean, I'm concerned only about when they drop off in the fourth, because we saw that last year, and I think the beginning of this year we weren't seeing that as much. I think this year they were really finishing games out, and if they slip back a little bit, I'm not overly concerned about losing a couple of games, but I guess I'm a little not concerned, but kind of bummed out when they lose, or they're down, by 30 to what was that? Was that Atlanta?
Yeah, they were down. They were down a lot in that one. And I mean, yes, they always find a way to come back, but I think they're banking on that element too much, and they're not able. You're not going to climb out when you give a team 81 points in the first half.
Yeah, and that's my concern. Is just it's just letting it get away.
They're gonna have to figure out how to close out games offensively. Like, I think that is figuring out your identity still with a young team, because a lot of people are saying maybe go down to Mobley when we're having trouble getting buckets because they're really locking down on our two guards that are our main scorers. And that's going to come with time, and they're going to figure that out. That's why they're ranked pretty low offensively. They're number 1 in the league defensively. That's what has me excited. This is a young team, and they are number 1 defensively, not in the East, in the entire league. Let's see, and then the point differential between their wins and losses, they're second. They're the young team. Like, that's why. Do they have warts? Sure. There is no perfect team in the NBA. Even the 72-win Warriors lost to us in the finals. There's no perfect team. We're going to have to learn more. We're going to have to get better. Sure. But are we freaking out? Absolutely not. Just have fun enjoying this team.
I think the time to maybe freak out a little bit is if they do have to play. If they somehow these types of things just continue to weigh on them and they go down to the plane instead of being in a playoff series. You better be in a playoff series.
They get in the play-in, I'm going to have a problem.
But you better be in a playoff series. And honestly, at this point, the expectation should be you're hosting top four.
You want to be in
not
the
just
top
top 6. I think top 6 is where we started this year. It's not too much to raise your expectations as the year goes on to 2 spots, to be in one of those home playoff spots.
I want 4. I expect the 4 seed. I'm hoping to get the 3 seed. I doubt we'll get it, but you never know.
Yeah, you don't know. And hey, the Celtics are on a different level this year.
Here's another thing. I don't believe that. Everyone keeps telling me the Celtics are this unstoppable team. Are we 2-0 against them?
Yes, we got them early.
No one is LeBron, Kevin.
I understand. I believe in the Celtics. I'm not saying I believe in the Celtics as like a fan or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I believe the strength of the Celtics a little bit more than I think other people do. The common, and it's not that I have a problem with it, the common theme with a lot of people looking at the Celtics right now is that it's not for real, or it can't be for real. I think some of it is, but we're all going to have our answer when they get into a playoff series. And more so, I think the second round. Do they win the first round? Hell yeah. They win the first round. But when you get in the second round and the teams get a lot better, and that team you're going against has every single day to just plan for you. They don't have to focus on, hey, we're focusing on working on something as a team here tonight. Not necessarily this is how we're going to defend them. This is kind of what we've seen from them throughout the year.
Yeah, they're not coming off at a back-to-back
we just had to deal with the Warriors. Now we got to deal with the Celtics. It's like a quick transition of how you have to deal with them. No, you're dealing with the same team as long as that series goes, whether it's 4 games, 5, on up to 7. Sorry to hit the mic. I'm getting a little animated here.
Basically, these playoffs are going to show us where this team is. Right now, we have to stay where we're at, stay the course, get to the playoffs, and that's where we're going to see where we're at for sure.
I would say that the advantage to and this isn't that the Cavs would face the Celtics or anything, but the advantage the Celtics have, although still a young team themselves and people wanting to or not believe in them, is they do have a lot more experience in the playoff series of how to operate with that. The Cavs need that, and they need that to be able to start the series at home. Top 4 should be the expectation. They're winning it at the end of the third, 92-76 if no one's watching right now. 4th quarter finish right now. Finish the 4th quarter. Toronto's a team that always gives you fits. Continue to send the message tonight. Get the job done at home. Then you get, the schedule starts to ease on you. I'm not going to discredit wins as well either. Like people I know did it in the 7-game win streak where they were stacking them against bad teams. Do what you're supposed to do against bad teams. Atlanta's not a bad team, but they're not a good team. And they just fired their coach. That was an unacceptable loss. Even off the night of a back-to-back where you gave everything you had, you couldn't beat the number 1 team in the West. You should have beat them. You probably felt like you should have beat them. That's where you go take it out on the next night. As much as you're tired, the motivation should be, hey, this team's below 500. They just had to fire their coach. They're in shambles. Let's go show them why they're in shambles. And no, you let them find their groove and let everybody go off like an all-star.
Of course, we had to play them after. What is that? The game after they fired their coach?
Yes, it was the game.
Yeah, we don't really gamble on this show, but I swear I would bet that team to always win an NBA game. It's like they get their coach fired and they're all happy. They go out and try hard, and then the players will get back into their routines.
But since I'm not betting, I can say that my team had an unacceptable.
Oh, that was terrible. I was ticked.
Did you guys, real quick before we hit break, did you guys see that game with Sacramento and the Clippers? Russell Westbrook's first game went to double overtime, 176 to 175.
Yeah, Jacob told me about that one.
It was like it was both teams were 153 at the end of the game though. So that was already an all-star game. You go to 176 to 175. Boy, Sacramento, Mike Brown, former Cavs coach, has got that team.
Mentioning betting, my buddy at work was telling me, he's like, oh, I got this parlay, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, and I got Clippers beating the Sacramento. He goes, that should be an easy win. I'm like, you've been paying attention? He goes, no. I'm like, Sacramento's like third in the West, second or third in the West. I'm like, they're good all of a sudden.
Yeah, and that's a team that we'll find out more of in the playoffs because that is a team that doesn't have as much playoff experience either, just like the Cavs, but they're kind of taking it personally that people aren't giving them the credit. I think the Cavs need to take some things a little bit more personally as well and maybe use that. And hey,
here's the thing I will say, dude. I'm not scared of any team in the playoffs. Are they good teams? Do I respect them? Yes. But I've been saying there's no LeBron in the way. There's no Michael Jordan in the way. Giannis is great. He's not them.
I think the way I can say the playoffs, or just sum up my thoughts on the playoffs at this point going into the month of March, and we still got a month and a half of basketball left. I'm more scared of what my team is going to do in the playoffs, how they're going to react to a playoff atmosphere, than I am of other teams and what they can do in the playoffs.
I think the Cavs can beat any team in the playoff, but like you're saying, the team that'll beat the Cavs is the Cavs. They're their worst enemy right now.
They are.
Not saying it's like they're in shambles or in trouble, but most of their problems are self-inflicted, like turnovers and stuff like that.
Get out of your own way with the bad habits.
Yes.
And that's where we'll drop the mic and head to our final break of the night. This is the Voice of the Land right here on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land.
Well, we have no idea what we're going to talk about. This is not much to talk about.
I wasn't going to pull the curtain back.
I was going to do it to you. We're between break. We're like, all right, how are we going to do this? Anything fun? And we're just staring at each other.
All right. So let's do this. If anybody's actually watching right now, and we'll say Twitter, if anybody's watching on Twitter right now, throw out a fun topic that we can finish the show with. In the comments, we'll go through a couple of them. If anybody is actually watching now, I might count as a viewer.
I got
right
one
now.
for you guys. We don't need Twitter.
Well,
everyone keeps talking about how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going downhill, and there hasn't been nothing good, and everyone's complaining about every single movie.
I almost said this in the break.
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding. I almost said that.
Dude, are they as bad as everyone's making them out to be, or am I just like a nerd that likes everything they put out almost? Because not everything has been perfect, but I'm not going to spoil it. Everyone hated on Ant-Man. I'm like, dude, it was a good movie.
Peter, have you guys seen it yet?
We haven't, and honestly, it feels like
critics are trying to ruin it.
Well, at least to me, like after the Infinity War and Endgame, that it just kind of with the Spider-Man, and honestly, I didn't like the way the last Spider-Man movie ended because I was rooting for Peter Parker.
Well, yeah,
So,
everyone. Roots for
I know,
Peter.
but it's just one of those things where, to me, that kind of felt like a letdown. And then I enjoyed some of the stuff on the streaming with like Loki, and I liked the Wanda stuff, but I haven't seen the multiverse, the Doctor Strange movie. Like, so I've kind of like fallen off a little bit because I felt like there was just so much, and it was so intense that it's almost like I almost need a break, and it's like just to keep throwing more stuff. And they had what was it, the Eternals, which I think people
Okay, that movie wasn't all that
Yeah,
good.
that
and
wasn't
there was
See,
one I
we're
can't
not going to go
yeah.
on here and just
Hey.
say they're all great.
right. So I
Hey.
think there's just kind of some that missed, and it was just kind of like I just haven't jumped back on. Now I kind of want to see the Ant-Man because I've liked those movies.
Oh, I love Paul Rudd.
Oh well,
Mhm.
You guys
everyone loves Paul.
So you
Rudd.
guys are saying with the Eternals, you guys weren't in that Harry Styles is going to become like a Marvel cinematic universe.
I'm not going to
character?
mention that to my wife because my wife loves Harry Styles, and so she'll be dragging me to every movie that.
And his character is kind of a playboy type character.
So you guys got my wheels spinning up here to
All
have
right.
topics, because I mean we're not getting anything, but anybody, again, if you have a fun topic on Twitter, just pose it and we'll try to like switch over to it in the last 8 minutes that we have of the show, because we are doing an hour tonight. We started 5 minutes late, so we have 8 minutes left in the show. We don't really pull any punches here. Do you guys think that either the MCU is focusing maybe more on the shows than the movies, or do you think that after they finished the Infinity Saga that they should have taken a longer break between starting that next phase, the next saga, the next big storyline? Because we know it's Kang the Conqueror now instead of Thanos. Do you guys think that there should have been more of a break, or they're just focusing more on the shows than the movies?
I don't think they needed a break so much.
When someone pauses like that, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think their problem is Endgame and Infinity War are like 10s. They were like amazing movies, and we let off from that. And how do you pick back up from that? You can't follow up with another 10 epic movie like that. And I think it's brought our expectations of all these movies so high that the smaller ones below it can't live up to it. Because if we would have seen Ant-Man 1 or 2 before Endgame, we'd be like, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't Endgame. Now there's movies like Iron Man 1 that is a staple of it. They need another movie like that to come out for them, I think, to help them.
Well, and Iron Man, as when this all started, this kind of built from Iron Man, but people weren't expecting that kind of response to it as it built from that. And of course they had the epic finish with that. They finished the Iron Man character, still makes me cry to this day. They finished that in Endgame. I have been missing that Endgame feeling. Like, you just kind of, I guess, made me realize that I've been missing that Infinity War Endgame feeling, that epic feeling, but we're kind of starting over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I get that. I get it actually with the shows, because you only get one a week. You watch it, and then it's like, oh my, like you're held in suspense. The movies had that, even though they continued to flow. As more and more the story became prevalent to us, became known to us about what direction they might be going. When they would tease stuff at the end of movies, you felt like that suspense throughout the movie. But as I think back on it, some of the early ones, like, you didn't have that as much. You didn't have as many of those moments. So we're kind of in that phase right now of this next saga.
It's like the build up to the next. It's like the build up period, and the
shows, I think, are being focused on more because you get that feeling because you have to wait each week.
Yeah. Well, like, so with the movies, and some of it is like, I've loved the Marvel movies. I was not a big comic book guy. Like, I knew, the more popular superheroes and everything, but I really enjoyed the movies, and I think that there's so many that they're digging so deep into things, that it's like some of them are like, wait, how does this fit in? And honestly, in some of the comic books, a lot of those comic books got retconned so many times because they would change one thing and then all this other stuff on the other side no longer fits into the story, and they're trying to mash it all back together, and it is a lot to take in. I feel like, and maybe it's just me, I feel like they're still pumping out like a lot of movies, where in the past it felt like we'd have a movie and we'd have to wait, and so they tease it in the trailers, and in the stuff at the end, and you had to wait for it. And now it seems like it's like
you're getting
always
like 3
there.
a year, and
it's like it just seems like it's too much at once, with everything else going on in life. And I think during the pandemic, a lot of people had a lot more free time too, that you could really consume that. You could watch those shows. Thank God for Tiger King during the beginning of the pandemic, because that got, I think, a lot of people, the insanity of that show kept a lot of people sane.
I never watched it.
Yeah, I never watched it. I don't
Oh my God.
I can't. I tried. I actually did try. I made it within 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm annoyed and pissed off. I'm good.
I don't know if I went back and watched it now, if I'd feel the same way about it.
Right.
But because of the timing,
it hit the right.
Just the right. Yeah. The timing was so good for that. So
let's get back to Marvel. Another problem, I think, is this the first time we've seen a big bad. Like, with comic book movies, in pretty much a lot of movies, the most interesting character is the villain. True. Believe it or not, he's the most complex. He's always giving you the most problems. People gravitate towards the villain. Thanos was awesome. Loki was great. We've had great villains. Wanda was our villain in one of the movies. It's like, okay, now our good guy's a bad girl. Like, that is not cool.
Switch your whole thinking, and
there hasn't been a real bad guy.
So I'm not going to give any spoilers, but boy, do I see that potential with
and Kang
and the guy playing him.
He's so good, so good.
Is he in too much right now though? Because he was just in Devotion, and now he's got Ant-Man out right now, and then this coming Friday he's going to come out with.
I don't know, man. The Rock does it pretty well.
Right, but
he's in everything.
But then he come out he came out of nowhere though. I didn't know about Jonathan Majors before kind of that transition from 2022 to 2023. Great for him to have that breakout time, and now I think people are seeing the variation of him. Like, this is what's going to help him build his career. But it kind of came out of nowhere. Unlike The Rock, Dwayne Johnson was already known as The Rock, and then started to dabble in movies, and then
do you think he is the new big bad? Because I don't think he's the new.
You don't think Kang is the next big bad? I
think it's gonna be Dr. Doom.
Really?
I think Dr. Doom and the Fantastic Four will revitalize Marvel. That's my call. That and the X-Men.
Those kind of comments with 1 minute to go is what keeps the show going longer than it's supposed to go.
I mean, people love Dr. Doom, and if they do him right, it's on. Because he's unreal. You're gonna have the Avengers Kang Dynasty is gonna be the first one, and they think then Secret Wars is the next big movie, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Doom is a huge player in that. But they change all the stories. These are just things I'm going from comics I've seen in the past and stuff like that.
And I think the MCU has also battled to get some of the characters that are Marvel characters under their control, because Spider-Man has been controlled by Sony.
And they kind of still are. They just have an agreement with each other.
Yes. I think Fantastic Four was
not anymore. They were Fox.
But
and Fox destroyed them.
So that's what people want, is they want to see some of these characters that haven't been done as much justice in the past.
Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel, and Fox just made some terrible movies with them.
Hey, you know what would get a geek out moment, or that Marvel epic moment from a lot of people? If Fantastic Four come in and who is playing Johnny Storm instead of Cap.
You think they'll bring him back as Johnny Storm?
I don't know. I know he said he's open to it, but I'm just saying those are the types of things
that would be interesting.
And I think that
we play this game at work. We've been trying to cast Dr. Doom, and then we have fun. People that shouldn't be Dr. Doom is one of the best.
And maybe that's where they're lacking. I'm not saying that the actors that they're getting are bad, but we got to know these actors like Robert Downey Jr. is
You
Iron
pretty
Man.
much have a friendship, like a relationship with these characters.
Yeah, so I think we need to build those relationships, but the right people have to be put in place to feel like we can build.
And
those
that's what they're doing with these
relationships
younger characters. That's why you're going to see the young Avengers come up, like Kate Bishop and Natasha's sister and stuff like that. You're going to see them more and more, and then eventually you're going to start liking them like you did the other guys, I believe. But I mean, Robert Downey Jr. You can't just replace an Iron Man. That's hard to do. That is another huge reason why the MCU is struggling.
With the MCU being down, this will be a real quick question to finish out the show. With the MCU, I think maybe being in a down spell right now, and maybe people being too tired of it, is this the right time for James Gunn and DC to strike?
They could try. Sorry.
Yeah.
Our boy Cody Draws, I'm just talked to him about drawing us as Marvel characters, believe it or not. Me and him go back and forth with DC and Marvel, which better, which is not. And I say, you take Batman and his characters out of DC, and they got nothing. So, no one likes Superman anymore. Sorry.
I think it all goes back with Marvel to the first Iron Man movie, with the way Robert Downey Jr. played that with and injected the humor into it and set the tone for the whole MCU.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is they do humor right.
Yeah.
In DC,
Love and Thunder maybe too much.
Well, I didn't see it.
Oh. Not trying to spoil it.
That's okay.
You know that there's gonna be humor in an MCU movie.
It's another movie that got destroyed. I actually liked.
Yeah.
But DC, it's just not there. It
feels forced.
Exactly. That's it. It feels forced. And another one I'm looking forward to actually seeing is Guardians 3. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, honestly, the first, actually both of those movies, for people, for superheroes, right? That characters that I had never heard of.
Oh, man,
love. That's like those two movies.
The funny thing
is,
like the Guardians of the Galaxy,
fantastic.
at the end of the one you've seen with Rocky, what's his name?
Sylvester
Stallone and his crew. Yeah. That's what the original Guardians of the Galaxy used to look like in the comic books. That's what I knew of. So when that movie came out, I'm like, who the hell is this raccoon and this blue guy and that green girl? I'm like, who are these people? And I watched and I'm like, this is awesome. And let's just be real, best soundtrack they ever made.
Oh yes.
I mean,
the soundtracks are just on point.
You could go on like YouTube and you look up their soundtrack, and it makes your screen look like it's a cassette player playing all of them. It's sweet.
On Spotify, I actually have the Guardians like playlist on there, so all the songs from both of the movies, because they're just so damn good.
Yeah, and some of the absolute classics. I think, if DC is going to strike, if James Gunn is going to replicate what he's been able to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, the time is now, and can you get that movie?
I feel bad for them because they're going to try.
I know, but
and then Marvel's going to go, here's Wolverine, here's Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom, and they're going to go, oh damn.
Right. But I think it's not about the characters that they bring out.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get a movie that evokes the kind of emotion and connection that Robert Downey Jr. did playing Iron Man or Guardians of the Galaxy in general? If you get a movie like that, they're going to strike. They are going to strike because James Gunn is that good, and we've seen how good he can be.
Have you seen the new Batman?
I've not.
Awesome. I ain't gonna lie. It was awesome.
There's a lot of Batman.
If they do that more, they're gonna be DC will be good.
DC will make that change. So we'll see. But hey, I will love to see if Cody's able to draw us his Marvel characters.
Yes, I haven't decided. You're obviously going to be our Vision. You are.
Please be Iron
Hawkeye.
Man. I am Iron
I
Man.
know who you are. I already told them. And I go, I have no idea who I'm going to be. I'll let you two decide which one I'll be.
Yes. So that'll wrap it up for this edition. Not to get too serious at the end, but you'd be remiss if we didn't close this the right way. Continue condolences, prayers, well wishes to the family that did lose someone here today in one of our local communities, one of our local suburbs in the city of Wickliffe. It's that city that I know will do the right thing, and we'll all come together to support in the best way we can for as much as you're able to when something like this does strike. And hopefully anybody watching from Wickliffe or just that knew about it and it hits you hard on the heartstrings, hopefully we were able to help a little bit as we kind of helped ourselves, kind of helped in that healing process to be in the right position to give all that we can to help as well, be in that right mind frame. Hopefully we helped with that as well. But for Always Positive Jay, for Peter Tellup, I'm Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all. 3,000.
Bubba Patron, don't talk about it, be about it.
And hey, as our great late friend Mike Allen always used to say, live life, all gas, no breaks. We'll see you next time right here on the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Go Cavs.